City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central.
Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. Rotorua Lakes Councillor Karen Hunt explains the benefits of the new green corridor. Locals are invited to the consecration of the Field of Remembrance installation, and police pull on the boxing gloves for the Station of Origin Fight Night. Work on the final stage of Rotorua's Green Corridor project started this week following the recent completion of Stage 1 across Kudo Park. Rotorua Lakes Councillor and Inner City Portfolio Lead Karen Hunt says on completion the Green Corridor will span a total of 2 kilometres, providing a safe cycling pathway from Government Gardens through the inner city across Kudo Park to Lake Road, where it joins the Nongataha cycle pathway.
Is the Green Corridor going to change our city in any way?
It's going to change it significantly. Physically, there will be obvious changes because of how it looks, how we use it as pedestrians and as people using some form of mobility device, whether that's a wheelchair or a scooter or a cycle. Then that will change, but also it will change how we view our city, and funnily enough it's going to slow us down in those places that will most benefit our retailers, and it will provide greater through traffic for the cars because we're going to remove in both Hinimoa and Haupapa Street the 3-car parking issue that we have, which causes lots of minor damage.
Meanwhile, Councillor Hunt says a rethink of the suitability of city focus in this day and age is also part of her plans for the inner city.
It's not so much about getting rid of the city focus, but let's move the city focus somewhere into a new destination where we can build it up to what this community. 25 years ago, the people then decided how they wanted a space like that to operate. After 25 years, it's time for this generation and these young people to have a say, as well as all our residents here.
That was Lakes District Councillor Karen Hunt. We went along to City Focus to get people's thoughts and opinions on the feature's future.
Yes, I think it should stay because it's a good tourism attraction, being all artistic and all. Like, I love the plants here. It's so ecological, I would say. Yeah, and I'm from Auckland, so that's important.
I think personally, probably go. Yeah, better traffic flow through the centre, be good for Rotorua.
No way. No, this is where everyone comes and sits for lunch. Like, you meet up with everyone. It's a place where you can just chill out from your shopping. So no way, I don't agree with that.
I think it's pretty silly because then a lot of young people won't be able to meet somewhere, and it's nice to have this little canopy above us because then it protects us from the rain and the sun. And having the road just go straight through is going to be quite boring because where are we going to all be in the city centre? Like, we can have little shows in front of us, and I think it's pretty silly taking it away.
Well, I should go because all the hories hang around here mostly.
The reason why I reckon it should stay is because everybody enjoys being out here.
This is called City Focus. Do you like City Focus?
Yeah.
Yeah? What about you? Do you think that they should keep City Focus?
Yes.
Why?
So it can be like this all the time.
A field of remembrance bearing crosses to commemorate Rotorua men who died as a result of World War I will be installed in the Government Gardens ahead of Anzac Day. The 103 white crosses in the Rotorua District Field of Remembrance will be consecrated during a ceremony tomorrow night with members of the public able to attend. The ceremony will take place near the cenotaph in Government Gardens. Rotorua RSA has endorsed the list of names to be included in the field, which will be in place for 5 days. Visitors will be able to walk amongst the crosses and place personal tributes. The installation is one of many throughout the country and will be reinstalled each Anzac Day until 2018. The men remembered in the field have a connection to Rotorua and the wider district. Some were born and had family here, others enlisted in Rotorua but may have been living elsewhere, and others came back to the district after the war. The crosses made by members of Men's Shed Rotorua will include one for the unknown soldier known unto God, representing the many men who died during World War I but are not known or not recorded. Each cross will feature the serial number, rank, initials and surname of a soldier. Tomorrow night's ceremony starts at 5 p.m. In sport tonight, local boxing buffs will have the opportunity to see police from across the Bay of Plenty pull on a pair of boxing gloves next month in a Station of Origin fight night. The fight card will include 13 bouts, 12 of which will feature policemen and policewomen with +1 professional fight. In the red corner will be representatives from Rotorua and Tokoroa police stations, while the blue corner will feature fighters from Tauranga, Te Puke, Whakatane and Oporaki stations. The Station of Origin Fight Night is a fundraiser for Roto Vegas Gym and organised by Rotorua Police Senior Constable Salilo Levi and Tauranga's Rog Lamentor. Tickets for general admission are on sale now, with table sales available through Roto Vegas Gym. To your weather update now. Tonight, chance of showers with light winds and an overnight low of 11. Tomorrow, Thursday, fine spells with a few afternoon showers, easterlies, a high of 18 and a low of 9. And the outlook for Friday, mainly fine with light winds, a high of 18 and a low of 7. The marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, southeast rising to 15 knots in the afternoon with waves less than half a metre with fine spells. Remember, for program listings and other info or to catch up on city news, you can visit our website tvrotorua.co.nz. Still to come in tonight's show, we're at the RSA to meet new President William McDonald and find out about the future of the organisation. And we review the highly successful Craftworks Mountain Biking Festival with organiser Tak Mutu.
City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central.
Kia ora everybody, welcome back to City News. Well, it's my honour now to be the one to introduce you all to the new Rotorua RSA President. His name is William McDonald, and of course a very auspicious year to take on the role. Kia ora, William.
Kia ora, and yes indeed, I absolutely agree. It's a year of rejuvenation, and in fact I've called it Project Rejuvenation since I've taken over. We are in a delicate position. I think the synonym of a hemorrhage is quite apt. We have to stop the bleeding.
Where is the bleeding coming from, and what is bleeding?
Primarily it's the financial position. We're not unlike many clubs throughout the country in this modern times. We're finding people are not quite as inclined to come to clubs as they used to. We have our major membership, which was predominantly ex-Second World War, who are obviously diminishing in their 80s and 90s. We're finding that many of the traditional things the RSA used to do is no longer keeping pace with society. And we have to become more ambitious, we have to become more exploratory, we have to stimulate people to want to be with us. And I suppose the temptation is to look outwards and say, well, we need more new numbers. I actually have the philosophy we've got to look after what we've got and at the same time look outside.
Well, when I walked in this morning, I was taken by the group of people that were in here. There were a group of very elderly people, but they were all chatting and laughing and, you know, beckoning people to come and have a talk. That wisdom, with respect, is not going to be around forever.
Truly, very true.
And so we do want our young ones to come through these doors.
Indeed. And
learn something, because there are some life lessons to be learnt from war.
Indeed.
And its aftermath.
Yes. I once heard an expression that went something like, soldiers don't worry about what's in front of them. Sorry, soldiers don't fight for what's in front of them. They fight for what's behind them. Sorry.
That's all right. All right. You're obviously a very passionate man, and you've been a soldier for many years. Before we came onto air, you did say that it's a very brief stint. And can you tell us how long you've been in the army?
Oh, only a couple of months, really, 1959 to 1980.
Wow.
And I loved it all.
And you loved it all.
I served in Borneo during Konfrontasi 63-65 and in Vietnam in 72. And yes, I love being a professional soldier.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of what I was taught in the army is helping me now.
Yes.
I might even digress a page
Please do.
And say that many Māori who join the army find their feet and their way. And
Why
numerous.
is that?
I think
Why
it's
is
the
that?
discipline. I
Yes.
think it's the camaraderie.
Yes.
I think it's the physical challenge. And of
The
course,
whanaungatanga, the sense of family.
definitely. Yes, absolutely. And the other aspect, of course, it suits our...
The warrior spirit.
Exactly. Yes.
And so it's timely that you come here, and you've got a lot of life to breathe into this old girl here. What are your plans? What are you hoping to do?
Fair enough. A good question. I have actually told the membership, we had just after I was appointed, I called, and this is rather strange, I called an emergency members information meeting. And in that I gave them two promises. The promise one was, by the 16th of May, I have to be in a position where I can tell the membership exactly what our financial position is. We had an idea, but I wanted exact. I'm an ex-warrant officer. It's got to be right. And the second one is that we have a situation where only 75% of our members, the House members, are in fact excluded from making any decisions relative to the club. The voting rights for the club are held by the service and return people, and that represents only 25%. So the second promise was to get everyone in the club equal rights in terms of voting.
Well, we hope that the support continues. We encourage anybody that would like to come down to the RSA and to enjoy and commemorate and remember that you will come down. Come through the doors. You don't have to be a member, do you?
Well, we have to be careful because of the licensing law, but generally speaking, if we've got visitors during the day, that's not a problem.
So no 16-year-olds drinking in the bar, guys. Sorry, you're not going to get away with it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
It's been a delight to speak with you.
Oh, and you too. And we look forward to many more very interesting stories coming, because we're sure you'll stop the bleeding. We're sure you'll get it sorted.
Thank you very much.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, and thank you very much for joining us, Rotorua. Now, it's been 3 weeks since a mass of mountain biking enthusiasts swarmed our city for the first ever New Zealand Crankworx right at our doorstep. And we're going to talk to now Takmutu, who is one of the individuals responsible, but he did have a huge team behind you, didn't you, Tak?
Oh yeah, the team was fantastic. I mean, the event itself, Crankworx, it's the biggest mountain bike festival in the world, and with only 7 months to do it, there's no way that any one person could take charge of it and do it by themselves. I had this team of amazing people who are all doers. They're all people who would just make things happen, and without that sort of attitude and without those people, we never would have got this event off the ground. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't just our team too for the Crankworx event. It was the team of people before us as well. The 2006 World Champs, that was a part of that legacy that they created from having that event. So, yeah.
Now, just to give people an insight, it usually takes about 1 to 2 years to plan a really successful event, and this was done in 7 months, so...
Yeah.
Massive amount of work.
Yeah, so our own business, Multi-Day Ventures, is a destination management company. So we take care of small events and tours and what have you. We've done some bigger events as well, and working under pressure seems to be a common thing for us. Basically, when things aren't quite going right, people will come and see us. And while that wasn't the case here, we did know that we were going to work with a short time frame. And the question was asked, is there enough time to do it? And my usual hat on. I said, yeah, sure, we'll be able to do it. And we did. We pulled it off. I mean, the event was just massive in the end. The amount of media coverage that we got, we eclipsed anything else. You know, we're about to see reports start coming out. The official numbers will start coming out, but it looks like we've even passed the Whistler numbers. So for a first-year event, forget that. This was, as the CEO of Whistler Blackcomb said, this was a massive event for a fifth year. You know, it was just huge.
Even before the reports come out, what have you had come back to you? What's the feedback?
Yeah, so off the cuff, I had a chat to the Red Bull Media House guys, and they're absolutely stoked with how it went, and they can't wait to come back next year. You know, they're talking about coming in full support next year, which is awesome. And there's one little video that they talked about with one of their riders. His name's Martin Soderstrom, and his little 2-minute clip of riding in Rotorua has already had over 1.5 million clicks. You know, so that's millions of views right there, and that's just that little 2-minute one. Forget the longer highlights reels. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see all these numbers come out, which admittedly haven't come out yet. We're having full reports produced for us to show us the extent of that media coverage.
Now, being media and liaising with other media networks, the feedback that I got personally was that it was the first time they've ever been looked after to that level ever.
Yeah.
Ever. So what do you make of that?
So in 2006 for the World Champs, Graham Simpson led that team, and they looked after the media really well, and it was something that the mountain bike world hadn't seen before. You know, usually the media turn up to a town and they're given a briefing in a room and then they go for it. They do their thing. But of course, using that New Zealand hospitality, that Māori hospitality, we wanted to make sure that people were really taken care of. And again, it was continuing that legacy. So we worked in conjunction with Destination Rotorua, so our local tourism body, to host the media. And they just did an awesome effort of it. I mean, the place looked stunning. They put a separate facility up for the media, you know, so it was fenced off so they could store their stuff safely. They had tea, coffee, food, drink facilities there for them. And they just had, Wi-Fi provided by Skyline the whole time. It was a really, really cool facility that was used a lot more than I thought it was going to. And it's funny because for us, we think that's what you should just do. You know, when people come, you should just take care of them like that. But this international media for mountain biking, we're just blown away because they don't normally get that. So, yeah.
Now, you said international media, because I know that the Cricket World Cup happened this very same weekend, and so our media here were preoccupied with that.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about the World Cup, are we? Didn't quite go to plan. No. Leave the cricket out of this for now. Yeah, I mean, we're up against, you know, obviously one of the biggest events New Zealand's ever hosted, the Cricket World Cup. And I mean, one of the lucky things for us is that last match was going to be played in Australia. So timing-wise, it was actually going to work out really well for us. What it did mean was that we were going to struggle for media coverage. But I can tell you now, we didn't struggle. We got more coverage than almost any other mountain bike event in the world. In fact, again, once these reports are produced, I'd say that we probably eclipsed those other events as well. So we got picked up massively by the not just the mountain biking, but the cycling media all around the world. And I suppose it's the national stuff, the domestic media that we're always going to struggle with, but we still got good coverage there. I mean, Sky Sport dedicated a channel to us. I mean, that was pretty cool. I thought that was just brilliant. And we had a few Crowd Goes Wild interviews. All the major news guys picked up on us when we announced the event, and then some preview before the event, and then stuff during as well. So I actually think we ended up doing quite well media-wise, even with the Cricket World Cup there.
Fair call, fair statement. So stay right there, Rotorua. We're going to be back with part 2 with Takmutu. So thank you very much for coming back. We're doing part 2 now, a Crankworx 2015 review with Takmutu. Tak, now I know that our city is undergoing through a lot of changes at the moment. There's huge revitalisation processes that's going on, and there's huge marketing that's going on for our economic portfolios and all the rest of it. And I get a real sense that this event has helped to shape and mould Rotorua's identity.
Yeah, Rotorua has been known for years as this cultural and geothermal hub. That's what we've been known as, and it's true, we are. Māori culture is super strong here. We've got a very high percentage of Māori living here. It exceeds the national average, and we also have amazing geothermal activity that we can go and see. Putu guys up at Te Puia is stunning, and you just don't get that anywhere else in the world. And sometimes we forget that as locals, that actually to everyone else in the world that is amazing. But for that reason, because it has been done for a century now, people, especially domestically, people in New Zealand, are tired of that. I think it's old, and we've got to show everyone that actually there is all this other stuff happening. There's a reason why we live here. There's all this wonderful things that you can do in this town, and mountain biking is an easy one because it's as a council put, it's a truth cell. It's the absolute truth here in Rotorua that we have some of the best mountain biking in the world. And we can't take that away from Rotorua, but how do we make people believe that? Well, you bring the world's community here and you get them to tell everyone, and that's what we did with Crankworx. We brought the top riders in the world, the top media in the world, and we said, hey, what do you think of this town? And you only have to look at Facebook to see that they love this place. There's not one rider who said they don't want to be back here next year. There's not one media person who doesn't want to come and spend a lifetime here. It's just been huge for us, and it helps extend that brand. And there's often a misconception that make a lot of money from an event. That's not what events are supposed to. Well, it'd be nice if events did that, but the reality is here in New Zealand, we don't have the people around, the numbers of people around to make huge money out of events. The events are put on to change the face of a place, to show what we have here, and it's the money that we'll make afterwards. And I've talked to tour companies around the show. I've talked to accommodation providers. And we've had riders who are still here in Rotorua, staying here. And they're spending their money here. They're staying in accommodations. They're buying food. They're going to the local bike shops. I was just talking to the owner of Ride Central the other day. He said, "Yeah, man, we've still got people coming through here, and they're loving it. They're loving it. Forget the money that we're making. It's the culture that we're creating from having these people around." So it's all those sort of things and those sort of reasons why we put on these events.
So, Tuck, being that this is the first larger scale event, well, look, you can't get any bigger than this. What doors has this opened for you and your team personally, or Rotorua?
I'll start with me and my team personally, because I suppose, again, it comes back down to that money side of it. We didn't put this event on to make money from the event, and to put things in perspective, I didn't make any money from the event. My wages were paid from my normal business, and yeah, at the end of this event, I still have to go back and get into the office and do my normal work, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to catch up on 7 months of neglect from my business, so the way forward for me is to keep doing what I normally do, is to keep working on Mountain Bike Rotorua, working on multi-day adventures, and doing that business side of things. As far as the event side goes, we'll start those negotiations with sponsors for next year. We'll start locking in dates and the plans, and talking to the tourism community here in Rotorua, and then of course the rest of New Zealand as well, to look at how we start to improve and make Crankworx bigger for next year.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your time, Tuck. It's been a pleasure, and no doubt we'll catch up with you next year for part 2.
That was Crankworx organiser Tuck Mutu talking to Melanie Groves. For more information or to contact the show, you can email news@tvrotorua.co.nz or phone 07 3488 984. Thanks for joining us tonight. From all the team here at City News, Ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Trade Central.